she is.
Hello.
Hi, Linda.
I think she's good, at least for her audio.
Okay. Would you like me to proceed?
Linda, are you all set?
Ugh.
There she is.
Yeah.
Okay. If I could now have a motion to return to regular session, please.
I did it.
Could I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next on the agenda is the Board of Education. Sorry. The first resolution is the annual school district election and budget canvass of June 16th, 2020, that the Board of Education approved the annual school district election of the city school district of the city of Oswego, New York, which was duly called, held, and conducted on June 16th, 2020, and such election voting was conducted for the election of 3 members of the Board of Education and the 2020-21 budget and 3 propositions of said city school district. The statements of canvass were delivered to the clerk of the Board of Education immediately after the closing of the polls on June 16th, 2020. The Board of Education declares the results of the canvass, all in accordance with 2610 of the New York State Education Law, and the Board of Education has duly examined the statements of the result of said annual election held on June 16, 2020, as foresaid. In each of the school election districts of the said city school district, and the results are as follows. From a canvass of the returns as contained in each statement of the result of the annual city school district of the city school district of the city of Oswego, New York, held on June 16, 2020. It is hereby found and determined that the number of votes cast for the candidates for member of the Board of Education said city school district in the several school elections districts of the said city school district is documented as per attached. Section 2, it is further found that from the tabulation of the results of said annual election and proposition in the several school election districts, that Ms. Pamela Dowd, Mrs. Lisa Glidden, and Dr. James McKenzie are elected to the office of member of the Board of Education of the city school district for a term of 3 years, which will commence on July 1st, 2020, and which will expire on June 30th, 2023. The 2020-21 budget proposition tabulation, as well as the propositions including the busing proposition and the capital reserve proposition, board member and public library trustees, is final as attached. The resolution shall take effect immediately. Official 2020-21 election results, official results of the 2016-2020 voting. If I could have a motion.
I'll move it.
Move it. Second.
Second. Any discussion?
I just want to thank everyone who took the time to vote. It was a complicated and very cumbersome process. I seem to keep using that word because there's not really another one that better describes what we're doing right now. But thank you to all those who voted, and welcome to the new board members. We're excited to have you on board.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Next on the agenda is item 2, superintendent's contract between the Board of Education and Dr. Mathis A. Calvin III. That the Board of Education hereby approves and authorizes the President of the Board of Education to sign the agreement with Dr. Mathis A. Calvin III as presented to the Board of Education in the form of the attachment Exhibit 1 for the period July 1st, 2020 through August 31st, 2023. This resolution shall be full force in effect upon its adoption. If I could have a motion.
Move it.
Move it.
Second. Linda,
Yep.
any discussion?
I want to officially thank Dr. Calvin for all of his patience through, again, a cumbersome process. And also the members of our school district who were so understanding about the process that we engaged in. And just really excited to have Dr. Calvin on board, and want to thank him for being here tonight and just welcome him officially.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Next on the agenda is the superintendent's report. Dr. Gui.
Dr. Calvin, welcome. I look
Thank
forward
you.
to meeting you again.
You too.
We've had a few opportunities to meet in the past,
Yes,
one over nuclear negotiations.
exactly. Great to see
And
you
I'm
again.
sure we'll have a lot to talk about.
Absolutely.
A couple things tonight. As you know, I've invited Catherine Gavitt, who is an attorney with Ferrara. They were very helpful with us, along with Joe Shields, in negotiating the pilot agreement that you're being asked to vote on tonight. But I just also wanted to touch briefly on a few other things. A committee has been working, certainly continuing to work on graduation. Nothing is easy under these circumstances, as Heather has said. Our graduation is set for Saturday, June 27th at the Oswego Middle School Stadium. This is going to be a very unique event, very different than anything we've seen before, but I think strikes a good balance between providing students with an opportunity to have something that looks more traditional, with also the attention that we need to pay to social distancing and safety. It is interesting that the New York State Health Department put out some updated guidance today that we reviewed. I met with Mrs. Palmatesso and Mr. Wallace again this morning to update their plans, and I reviewed the program to make modifications because it is so different. It's a very student and family focused graduation ceremony this year, in cohort groups of 100, not to exceed 150. And so the ceremony will start at 8 a.m. And will continue into the afternoon. So we're praying for cool but sunny weather for those of us that will be there the whole day. And families will rotate in and out throughout the morning and early afternoon. I know that there's additional information that'll be released to the students very soon. There's also a cap and gown and yearbook event that's being planned at the Oswego High School, with a lot of other surprises that they shared with me today. I also wanted to reiterate or restate the thanks that Heather made previously to all those who worked on this very unique budget vote this year, particularly Karen. I don't think many people have an appreciation for what it takes to have a regular school budget vote and board election, but certainly this one was extremely challenging. I know, particularly because Karen woke me up at 12:45 last night with the results. I watched them come in live on our website, but I had asked her to give me a call. I didn't mean it, but she did call me. And it's exciting that we were able to get voter approval for our budget that is so important. And now I'm going to invite Catherine Gavitt, who's joining us as well, to do a presentation on our new agreement with for 9 Miles 1 and 2. Catherine?
Great, thank you. Karen, do you have the PowerPoint up by any chance?
Yes, Catherine,
Oh,
Jamie's going to operate, our Director of Technology is going to operate it for you. So you just tell him when you're ready to move to the next slide.
Okay, great. So everyone, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be here tonight to present this for you. What we like to do, Joe Shields and I have put this together, and it gives you an overview of a pilot agreement that we've negotiated on behalf of the school district with the school district negotiation team. And it was a lot of work getting to here, but we believe that it's a great result for the Oswego City School District. So Jamie, if you could turn to the next slide, please. So just as an overview, the Oswego City School District, the town of Scriba, and the county of Oswego have worked together to reach a tentative agreement for the 9 Mile Point Nuclear Station. This agreement is going to be a 5-year payment and load tax agreement. And the payments would be made to the school district in 2 installments each year. So you get one on October 31st of each year, and the second half of the payment on February 28th of each school fiscal year. That's going to start this school year, 2020, 2021. So controlling law, real property tax law 412A. This is important because there's two different avenues of law that this could go under. We're going under real property tax law 412A. Under this law, it provides a real property tax exemption for property under control of the county industrial development agency, either through ownership or a lease. In this case, there's going to be a lease. And the IDA and the company will enter into a payment in lieu of tax agreement. And then the pilot agreement provides payment certainty for the taxing jurisdictions and the company. So we played an instrumental role in negotiating this pilot agreement with the company to make sure that the school district rights are protected. The statute under 412A provides payments to be split on a pro rata basis unless the taxing jurisdictions agree otherwise. Our payment is actually slightly above pro rata, so all of the taxing jurisdictions have to sign off and approve that the school district is going to get more than their pro rata basis. So it's my understanding that the county has already approved and the town intends to approve, I believe, today. So the taxing jurisdictions are typically not signatories to a pilot, an IDA pilot. And in this case, we will not be signatories to the pilot. However, we have requested language in there that says that the pilot cannot be amended or changed without the approval of the school district. So Jamie, if you could go to the next slide, thank you. So the benefits of the real property tax law 45. So as I discussed, there's two different avenues that we could do this. 45, which is specifically created for nuclear power plants, or the 412A. 412A is what IDAs use for any type of property. It's typically to encourage commercial development within the community. The IDA has more flexibility for their pilots than a standard 485. More important for the school district is the 412A pilot through the IDA helps with our aid ratios and will give the school district better financial aid. You can move on, please. Just by way of background, I'm sure that many of you are familiar with the facility. For the new board members who may not be as familiar, the 9 Mile facility has 2 units. Unit 1 was in 1968, and it's set to expire in August 2029. Unit 2 was started in 1988, and it's not set to expire until October of 2046. You can move on. This property has been under pilot since it was deregulated in 2001. So the first pilot was 10 years, starting in 2001. We had a second pilot in 2011, and then a third pilot in 2014. Now this will be our 5th pilot. If you like the first pilot, we averaged $23.4 million a year. The second pilot was quite high. We were able to get up to $36.2 million, and that reflected a sale that had occurred. Then the third pilot was right after natural gas prices had dropped so much, and that was the $28.7 million. In this year, notwithstanding the fact that natural gas prices are still incredibly low, we were able to negotiate a pilot that averages out to $30.4 million on an annual basis for 5 years. Next, great. So under the proposed payment, the school district would receive $20.55 million in the first year, a total payment of $30 million. The subsequent years, the total payment would be $30.5 million, and each year the school district would receive $20,892,500. Then the final year of the pilot will be the 2024-2025 school year. The payment allocation will be 4% to the town, 27.5% to the county, and 68.5% to the school district. As we discussed, because this is not along a pro rata basis, all 3 jurisdictions have to approve this. So the proposed pilot, just some high-level pieces, 5 years, $152 million in total payments. The parent company is going to guarantee payments to protect the school district. Additionally, there's the ability to terminate or renegotiate the pilot if there is New York or federal legislation that increases the annual revenue the facility receives through the ZEC program. So what some of you may not be aware of, right now the company gets a credit, a zero emission credit, which is quite substantial. Over the last 3 years, it's equated to about $1.3 billion for all of its facilities in total. And this was brought about in large part by the efforts of Dr. Calvin and Dr. Gouet in working with the legislators to make sure that we could keep nuclear in upstate New York. In doing this, we want to make sure that if that credit or any other similar credit is increased, that we have the ability to go back to the company and increase our pilot payments. Additionally, if the pilot is terminated early, the district will not only receive the payment for the remainder of that school year, but will also get another year of payment to make sure that we're not caught off guard and we have the ability to prepare. So are there any questions? So the next step in this would be that we provided a proposed resolution for the board to consider tonight and hopefully act on. We have the idea is going to be acting on this later this month. In order to have this done in time to get the 412A pilot, we need to have this completed by June 30th of this year.
A resolution exists on the agenda, Catherine.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.
Yes, you're welcome.
Dr. Gui, would you have any other items tonight?
No, that's all of it. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move to the consent agenda. Regular meeting and budget public hearing of June 1st, 2020 minutes, Special Education Board report of June 16th, 2020, Oswego High School and Oswego Middle School extracurricular report, May 2020, District Financial Report, July 1st to May 31st, 2020, Treasurer's Report, May 2020, Budget Status Report, May 2020, Fund Balance Projection through June 2020. If I can have a motion 1 through 8, please.
Move it.
Second,
I'll second it.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next on the agenda is personnel with Dr. Sweeney.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dr. Calvin. We look forward to working with you. The first item I have is a professional staff recommendation. Administrative, Rory Malone, Assistant Principal at the middle school, effective for the 2021 school year. This is a continuation of our ESSA-funded grant money that the middle school has allocated to them. Number 2, professional staff recommendation, resignations. Stephanie Dawson and Carrie Joyce, both as elementary teachers. They have been in reading teacher positions, serving in a second tenure area, so they are resigning from their elementary classroom position to remain on in their reading positions. 3, a professional staff recommendation, leave of absence. Katie Lynn Canale at Fitchie Park. She is going to serve in a second title as our AIS teacher at Fitchie Park School. Karen, can we do those 3 together and then I'll continue on?
Yes. Motion, please.
Move it.
Second,
I'll second it.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
4 is the first batch of our probationary teacher hires for our replacements for retirees and folks who are moving around a little bit. I did just want to note specifically that we've changed the tenure and the APPR language that we used because partly because of the COVID pandemic, APPR was adjusted this year and we're not really sure what it's going to look like in the future. So I spoke to some of my colleagues and Karen and Dr. Gui and I kind of landed on some slightly truncated language, but it does still cover us in terms of their evaluations. So our new probationary folks, Kaylee Baldwin, math at the high school, Alex Bush, social studies at the high school, Robert Donnelly, physics at the high school, Elizabeth Hollers, music at Minetto, Stephanie Kaiser, childhood education at Fitchie Park, Elizabeth Kamuda, early childhood education at Riley, Stephanie Kropp, reading at Riley, Alyssa McMahon, elementary education at KPS, Aaron Raymer, music at Fitchie Park, Abigail Schaefer, social studies at the middle school, and Allison Ewell, childhood education at Kingsford Park. Be it resolved that the anticipated probationary expiration date will depend on the individual teacher's observations and evaluations. Karen, can we do number 4, and then I'll go on with the rest of the professional staff?
Yes. Could I have a motion on number 4, please?
Move it.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah,
Just
one question.
Go ahead, Tom.
My question was just the different terms of tenure due, the lengths of terms. We have 4-year, 3-year, and 2-year in there, and I was just curious as what the difference was there.
Sure, of course. So there are some folks who've been serving in positions as regular substitutes, and if they have served a number of years with us already, there's no break in service in their content area, and they have effective or highly effective ratings, their tenure can be reduced when they move into a probationary position.
Thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. I knew there had to be a reason. I just wasn't sure what it was.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
I've brought this up
You're welcome.
before, but given the unknown with the governor, we don't know what's going to happen down the road. And in the appointments we've made in the last couple of meetings, we always had in there as needed, but I didn't see that in any of the appointments for tonight.
No, you know, Sam, you bring up a good point. Dr. Gui and Nancy and I have talked about this quite a bit, and we had to balance the idea that we want to hire the very best candidates from the candidate pool. These are the openings we have as our budget stands, given that we've gotten no additional direction from the governor. And at this point, I don't think we can really afford to wait on filling these positions because we've gotten no indication when he may or may not tell us in the future that we would have a funding reduction. So at this point, we're moving forward with filling the known positions that we do need to fill.
Well, I understand that it's difficult because we don't have a crystal ball, but and I understand that we really need to hire the best and the brightest if we got the opportunity. So I guess we just got to do what we got to do now and hope for the best.
In almost every one of our second round interviews, the candidates have spoken to us about a fairly grounded understanding that they know we don't have a crystal ball and they understand they're accepting a position with us that exists now and none of us know what the future might hold.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Okay, number 5, professional staff recommendations, probationary teaching assistants, Alyssa Clavelli, Deborah Sprague, and Aaron Woods, 2 at the middle school and 1 at Minetto. 6 are our regular substitute positions, Jessica Anderson at Riley, Catherine Clancy at the middle school, Alicia Hafner at Fitchie Park, Danielle Legault and Alexis Ronaldo at KPS, and Angela Smith at Fitchie Park School. Number 7 is an extra compensatory position at the high school. We do tend to approve a few of the extra compensatory now. The rest will come over the summer. But Lisa Schultzke and Catherine Mills, they have some work to do that has to continue on in the summer. So we do approve them now for the 2021 school year. 8, an extra compensatory position, special education scheduling, Amy Schutz, not to exceed 8 days as needed. 9 are extra compensatory positions for counseling services as presented, not to exceed their allocated number of days and as needed. And those are the professional staff recommendations, Karen.
Okay. Items 5 through 9, if I could have a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a question. If people have been on the substitute list, Heidi, previous years, do they have to reapply or they're just automatically on?
Are you talking about our regular per diem substitutes, Linda?
Yeah, the ones that come in daily.
Yep. So we will bring forward the entire batch of substitutes, temporary employees later in the summer, and we approve them as an entire batch. They don't have to reapply if they've been with us before, there's some paperwork that got mailed out. They would just need to complete that and send it back to the personnel office.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose?
Our support staff recommendations begin at 10. A resignation, Kelly Canova, registered professional nurse at Minetto. Support staff recommendation, leave of absence, Sarah Pike, custodial worker at the high school to serve in a probationary period in the second title. 12, permanent appointments for Michelle Canoop, account clerk typist at the high school, and Joshua Kranz, school monitor at the middle school. 13, temporary summer support, Janine Regan, account clerk typist at the high school, and Cindy Zuber, clerk at the middle school. Again, not to exceed their allotted time as needed. 14, summer transportation for testing and training as presented. 15, support staff recommendations for our summer food service, for our summer meal program, again, as presented for the various positions. And 16 is our substitute and temporary employees for the summer work, specifically in the 2021 school year, cleaners and our typist appointments.
Motion?
Move it.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next to finance with Nancy Squires.
Thank you, Karen, and welcome, Dr. Calvin. Number one is a contract with Construction Associates. They're our construction manager for the capital project. This is to extend their contract and hire them for phase 3 of the capital project in amount of $738,464.95. Number 2 is an agreement with City BOCES, and this is our annual agreement for them to continue to sponsor adult continuing education. And number 3 and 4 are health and welfare contracts for West Hill and Jamesville DeWitt. These are contracts that allow for them to bill us for health and welfare services for our students that are attending parochial schools in their districts. Number 5 is for a budget transfer of $3,000 from heating supplies to equipment, and that is to purchase additional sanitizing sprayers for the COVID pandemic. And number 6 is the resolution for the pilot agreement with 9 Mile 1 Nuclear Power Station. Number 7 is for the purchase of a Daktronics scoreboard. This has been included in the budget for the capital project. I bring all additional contracts to the board for approval. So this is one that we're purchasing, and we're buying this off of a piggyback contract through the state contract. And finally, number 8 is a donation from Exelon to Fitzhugh Park School in the amount of $65, and that's from their employment engagement program.
Items 1 through 8, could I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Just
Yeah.
as a point of, I'm
Go
sorry,
ahead,
go ahead,
Steve.
Tom.
I
I
was
just wanted as a point of clarification for the record that the resolution for number 6 is for a pilot agreement with both 9 Mile 1 and 2. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about the construction associates and just talk a little bit about that in terms of we're moving that phase. That's also in the budget. I was in the for the capital project, so it's not any additional cost, but also just in how they handled this first phase. We've been very contented with what they've been doing and how they've been working on our behalf as well. And just to say that and reiterate that and why we chose to move with them to the next phase.
Yeah, you're right. We did a comprehensive interview process with all of our construction management firms that presented to a committee, including our facilities committee folks, and they were the successful presentation. They've done an outstanding job so far in phase one. They're on site and in the district every day, all day. Not only Doug, who's the president and owner of Construction Associates, but also Peter, who is the vice president. They really have done an excellent job. The reason we want to appoint them now for phase three is that we're in the design phase for phase three, which is quite significant. And we want them to have a voice at the table in all those planning meetings.
If I could have a motion,
Move 'em.
or I'm sorry,
No.
all in
We
favor?
already did that.
Sorry about that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next is the student representative discussion. Roomba? Would you have any items tonight?
First of all, we finally found out like the exact graduation plan and what's going on, so that's been very helpful. Lately there's been like a lot of confusion, especially in the OHS class of 2020 Facebook. There's a lot of people who have been asking questions and not really knowing what's going on. And now that the information has actually been sent out, and you did change the plan from the drive-by or drive-through or whatever, due to the change in the 150 limit. And everybody is very grateful for that. I think a lot of people prefer this option more, because we get to actually have a graduation, even if it's like social distance. There has been a little confusion on what exactly was going on. I think some people didn't get the information, but one question I have is I heard that the families would be sitting with the students in the field. Is that true, or are they sitting in the bleachers?
I'm glad that you asked that question, Ruma. And you're right. We modified the plan after the governor suggested that there may be some flexibility to allow for some actual ceremonies not to exceed 150 students. We still tried to honor the request of the seniors in terms of the location. I know that that was important to the seniors to have it at the Oswego Middle School because the backdrop is certainly more appealing than Buck Boulevard right now that's under construction. I actually had mentioned earlier in the meeting that I met this morning with Mrs. Palmitesso, Mr. Sykett, Mr. Wallace regarding, so they could give me an update on the plans. And it was reported to me by Mrs. Palmitesso that there was a significant request from senior class members, and maybe you can confirm or deny this, that there were some students that liked the idea of sitting in what we've been referencing as pods with their family, a senior student graduate with four adult members of their family sitting in a social distance pod on the field. That was the original plan. And she suggested that there were significant numbers of students who wanted the option of also being able to maybe sit in two social distance rows just forward of that. Have you heard that?
I haven't heard anything specifically on the rows, although I have heard people would prefer being just with their friends while their parents are at the side. I've heard a lot of seniors want that. Personally, I really don't have a preference as long as I graduate, but I think a lot of people would prefer sitting next to their friends, even if it's 6 feet away.
Right. So what I told Mrs. Palmitesso was to continue to have conversations with her student representatives and other students, and that we could certainly provide that option. We can have 2 rows of social distance seating that would look more traditional to a graduation ceremony. Of course, you'd be 6 feet apart. But those students, but I think there are some students that probably would like to sit in with their families. And it doesn't have any impact on the time frame for the ceremony. So word travels fast because I only heard that this morning myself.
Okay. And also, would the parents, when the student walks the stage, would the parents go with them to like take pictures?
No, that's another really good question. When the students are actually lined up and they're to have their names called to actually cross the stage and receive their diploma, one adult member of their pod, one family member, would go to the left of the stage to a designated area in order to take photos while their family member, their graduate, is crossing the stage, receiving their diploma. And then you'll move to a mark on the stage where a professional photographer will also be taking photos. So simultaneously, while the graduate comes up to the right of the stage, the parent will be moving to the left of the stage to a designated area for photos.
Okay, thank you so much for the clarification.
But they also can take photos at any time. In fact, we changed this in the program just this morning. There will be no restriction of family members in attendance taking photos throughout the ceremony from their area, because they can stand and they won't be in anyone's way.
Okay, that's great.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Great question.
Also, recently we heard plans, some students organized a little parade that was approved by the mayor, I heard. So that's really exciting. Yeah, basically, I think it's like a drive by like parade, and we'll decorate our cars and we'll be in our cap and gown. So I think that's a really nice way to honor the seniors.
Mhm.
And I think everybody's really starting to understand what's going on and really learning to accept what we have, and it's better than nothing.
I can guarantee, I have only heard some rumor about the parade late this afternoon. I haven't talked to the city or endorsed a parade, but if the city would like to host a parade, certainly they're welcome to do that, separate and from the district. But I lost my train of thought, but I
Dean,
just
can
heard
you-
about this afternoon.
And as long as we're talking about graduation, can you also speak to the virtual ceremony that will be, I think, shown in the evening, correct? That will include
Yes.
the speeches, and then so that everyone realizes they need to get their pictures in.
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you reminded me about that, Heather. The other portion of our graduation is not only will the entire ceremony throughout the day be videotaped and then spliced together by our tech folks. They will be producing a commemorative video that will include all of the speeches from the class representatives, from the board president, from Mr. Wallace and myself, as well as some of the other traditional things. There also will be a spotlight on each graduating senior. And I went this morning, the senior class advisor informed me that as of today, there were only about a third of the students who had responded to that questionnaire with photos, quotes, thank you messages to families and things like that. And there's a real time crunch here where we need to get the word out. So
Yeah.
guidance counselors will be calling all of those students who have not yet responded. But maybe, you could be helpful, Ruma, as well as putting it out there on your Facebook page, that it's really important that we do that, so that each of those students' slide, if you will, or 15 seconds of fame really represent what they would like to have us put up. We have graduation, we have photos of seniors, and we know a lot about our students, but we really want to make it as personalized as we can. So please spread the word on that. We're going to be hounding the senior class over the next 4 or 5 days to get that information submitted.
Now, Dean, when will that show for family members? If we can only bring 4 to the actual ceremony, obviously family members will want to watch that.
Yes.
So when will that be shown? Will it be later in the evening?
Our goal is to have that be shown for the first time the evening of the 27th, and then repeatedly shown on Channel 16 and WBUC, as well as YouTube, continuously after that. We also are working on the details related. I know that there are some family members who have reached out to board members and to administration about grandma who might live in Pennsylvania, would really like to see this thing happening live. We don't have technology on the middle school stadium capability, but Mr. Sykett is working now to see if we can pull a cable from transportation in order to be able to do that as well, because we think that would be nice for folks that can't be there because we are so limited in the crowd.
Dean, can we get some clarification as to the expectations for all of the board members and
Yeah.
what you would like us to do that day? Kathleen had a suggestion that maybe she and I could work doing something other than, sitting on stage, but I'd like to know, what you have.
Yes, it's going to be so different because the stage party will be so limited, and we
Right.
have 3 board members who have 4 board members who
Four.
have
Mhm.
significant graduates, and they would rather sit with their families. But certainly Heather has no interest in sitting on the stage for 7 hours. So I thought we might reach out to having a schedule where board members could either be present on the graduation platform, or would they rather just come up on the left side of the stage to present the diploma to their family member?
Yeah,
But Linda certainly,
anything will be fine as long as we know what you expect.
yeah. Tammy Pamatessa right now is generating a schedule and a list of our needs for volunteers in terms of helping to assist with parking, the flow of
Yeah.
cars coming in from stage 1 to stage 2, and also exiting. Cars will exit Fitzgibbons Drive from the 5th Street end only. They will come to the first staging area in the front of the middle school. Then they'll be moved to the parking lot closest to the stadium. And then they will exit around the back of the middle school where we had previously planned the drive-up version of our graduation. And they will be directed to leave the campus to the east side of Fitzgibbons Drive. So there'll be a continual flow of traffic, and hopefully we can keep this on schedule and get it done smoothly. But Linda, I'll put a memo out to the board telling you exactly what our needs are.
Good.
And certainly if a board member has a desire to be there for the entire day, you're welcome.
Well, we want to help. I mean, even if we're directing traffic, but I would like to be useful in some way.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
All right, great. I think too, the idea was not that I would love to be up there. I think it's exciting to see all these wonderful graduates walk the stage. But, as a board, we're a team, and I think that everybody should be represented up there at least one, for a segment of time. I think is very important. So I think that's the idea behind switching up.
Yeah, exactly. We do, because typically the entire board is present, as well as their administrative team. We'll have a much smaller stage presence, but we have a chair designated for Board of Education, and that can rotate out throughout the day.
Yeah.
Would the
Real
student
thank
have
you. Good
any more
question.
items? Oop, I'm sorry.
No, I was just thanking Ruma because those were really good questions, and we've been working on graduation for a long time, and everyone has a desire to make it just right.
Yeah. But the clarifications really helped. I'll make sure to let people know about the slideshow as well.
Great.
And thank you for everything you guys have done. I'm really excited to see how it turns out.
Thank you.
So
I
are
love
we.
the signs that are up on the bridge and across the signs that are up across the bridge of all of our seniors. I love it. And I think, was it Mayor Barlow that put those up? Or was it the district?
The city
That's
put those
Mayor.
up.
The city, yeah. Oh my gosh, they're so sweet.
And Ruma, I want to thank you so much for your service as well on the board. I know this is your last meeting, so thank you so much. You've been a joy to work with, and so you brought a lot of great ideas, and you've represented your student body very, very well. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Great job. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruma.
Yeah.
Next on the agenda is items from the board, but before I turn it over to the Board of Education, there is a membership that I spoke with Heather about, New York State School Boards Association, and I would just wondering if the Board of Education would like to have that membership again next year.
Karen, I think one thing that I know Kathleen brought up to me was that perhaps this should be a decision for the board coming in.
Sure.
And I know we might be a little delinquent on our dues, but this is probably something that we should decide on July 1st. What do you all think?
I think you're right.
Yep.
Great. I'll bring it back to you on July 1st.
Thank you.
Any items from the board?
Yes, I would like to tell Sam and Brandon and Brian, I've enjoyed so much working with the three of you. I'm going to miss you. And I hope that you go on to do other fun things.
Thank you, Linda.
Yeah, I'd like to ditto that. It's been a joy to work with all of you. And Sam, I mean, you are a legacy.
I know.
So I think the whole community is going to miss you. And Brian and Brandon, you guys have been exceptional and really brought your talents and your gifts and your perspectives and your professional expertise to this board and the decisions we've made. And it's all been very appreciated.
Thank you,
As you know,
Heather.
it's often a thankless job, and you guys have done it with a lot of grace and hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just know that. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Brian and Sam. I don't know what the board's going to be like without Sam on it. This is my 8th year going into my 9th, and you've always been by my side, and I just appreciate everything that you've given to this district and me personally, teaching me how to be a really good board member and just calming me down, telling me when I'm wrong in a gentle way and agreeing with me and supporting me. And I just truly appreciate everything that you've done.
I know we're all gonna miss him.
Thank you.
Sorry, don't mean to give you and
What about
Brandon
Brandon?
crying in the shadows, but Sam's a big deal.
We get it. We get it.
He
I
is.
got my first 2 years of sitting next to him, so I got my education my first 2 years in the term sitting next to Sam. We were just happy there's no microphones on us most of the time. Although he stole my pen.
Yeah, I just wanted to just make a note, you know, to all the voters out there, and I know that a lot of them aren't listening, but it's been a fun 3 years, and I think we've moved the needle quite a bit in the 3 years that I've been on. And for any board members that are thinking about coming on, it's sometimes a thankless job, but at the end of the day, when you see things change and for the best of the students and you know, to see the school district going in the right path, it's fun to be a part of. So on that note, Dean, thank you very much for your time as well. It's been appreciated not only as a superintendent, but also as a teacher and many other functions in the district. So now you get to go on and enjoy your children and your grandchildren and retirement. So good luck to you, and thank you very much. And Dr. Calvin, welcome on. And you've got a few challenging years ahead of you with the COVID and the budgeting and the nuke plants and all the rest of the stuff coming in. And it was nice to see that you had a plan put together. I would encourage reaching out to Mayor Barlow in the city. He is looking forward to chatting with you and being a part of your growth throughout your time there too. So anyway, Sam, enjoy retirement, will you please? But most importantly, thank you for all your years. I can tell you from from the bottom of my mother's heart, she has always said that you are a stand-up guy, and she appreciates you to this day end, and I do as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
I don't even know how you follow that. I mean, that was like,
I know you got to bring it back.
you got to get that music to, you know, keep things moving along when we go through. But, you know,
The only
thank you.
music you know is like Motley Crue with Skid Row and Guns N' Roses. That's it.
Okay, your time is over. I just wanted to, you know, thank you. And, you know, being a school district, it's interesting enough because you're also teachers for us. And that was a learning point that we got every day of the year, that, you know, the behind the scenes of the work that goes into running a district. I don't think a lot of people realize all the moving pieces that are there to keep it going. And each one of you plays a role in that. And I thank you for everything you've done. Although I won't be on the board anymore, you know, I'll still be involved with my day-to-day job and working with the district to do what we can. You know, Dean, thank you again for the years you put in service to the community, you know, not just the superintendent, but back in the early days when the football field was first being built, when you were, I think you said you started back then. But anyways, thank you for your whole career going through there. Dr. Calvin, looking forward to the exciting opportunities and what you're going to bring to the district. And as I told my friend Tom, you know, I'll be rooting for you for the next couple of years there, Tom. So thank you to everybody. And Ruma, you know, good luck to you in the future. I'm sure I'll see you many times in between, but it's interesting. Like I said, I've known Ruma since she was kindergarten, and she's come a long way, and I appreciate it. So,
Thank you
congratulations.
so much, Brian.
Would there be any other items from the board?
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. No, you first.
Senior citizen, remember?
Yes, I know. I see your card. Go ahead.
Thank you all for your kind words. They mean a lot to me. But I would like to, first of all, welcome Dr. Calvin to the district, to the community. I'll give him a little piece of advice. When you move into this community or come to this community, everyone in the community will have an opinion, but not everyone in the community will have the facts. So your job is to be factual and be transparent, and you'll do really well. So welcome. And to the new board members, congratulations. I'd like to leave you with this thought. You are going to be joining a good team, and always remember that you serve two groups, the students and the taxpayer. And many times the most difficult decisions that you will have to make is going to be fair to both. And sometimes it will be impossible, but together you'll do the job. And Karen, I don't know what to say about you. I think of you as being a shepherd with the flock. I mean, you got 7 people running around, nobody knowing where to go or when. You move us around, you keep us straight, and you're a godsend. I appreciate you. And Roma, thank you. I hope you enjoyed your year. I'm different, and I keep telling Corey, this class of 2020, you're making history. No one else has ever done this, and pray God they never have to do it again. But, thank you so much for your service. You've been great. And
Thank
Dean,
you.
we'll see you around, Dean. So thank you all.
Any other items?
Tom, did you have anything to say before I close up?
Yeah, I did, but it's after the Love Fest. I just don't know where to go. I can't say anything more than what's already been said. You guys, it's great. It's been great. Brandon, Brian as well, and Sam and Roma. I'll reiterate what Heather said. You represented your class extremely well, and you should be very proud. It was a joy having you sit alongside us. So thank you very much. The only thing I wanted to bring it back was a little bit of business was with the capital project. I'd like to integrate updates into the board presentation going forward, because I know there's been some stuff in the community and people not knowing what's actually going on. So if we can do that as the facilities committee, we can bring that forward and do it during the event. But thank you to
Karen, can we actually make that an item, like maybe right before board items? Because I think it should be a regular item on our agenda every single time. You good with that, Tom?
Yes, I do. I'm going to do that. And I'd like to, I don't want to discuss too much here about it, but be able to take that and put it, get it up on our website. So we have pictures that show people there, and then also our Facebook page, just integrate it all the way across if we can, so the community knows what's happening. But that would be great.
And would the members like that before the items from the board? Would that be?
That'd be a good place for it. Do you guys agree?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just had 2 other thank yous, and then I would like to offer Dr. Calvin a chance to just say hello and, to just give a couple of words before we close. But Karen, I just want to apologize. When I was giving the thanks for the voters, I mean, they just put something in the mailbox. You really did a ton of work, and I just want to thank you again, as Dr. Guai did, and also the volunteers we had alongside you for all of their hard work. So thank you so much. I also wanted to thank the folks that put together the OHS Awards ceremony the other day virtually. That was beautiful and well attended. And I know that took a lot of work as well. So thank you for that. And with that, I'd like to pass it over to Dr. Calvin.
Well, thank you very much. I hope you all can hear me. Yes. Well, let me start by saying thank you for really this exciting opportunity. I'm so excited about being the new superintendent out here at Oswego City Schools and becoming a part of the community. As I enter the district, I'm looking so forward to working with the wonderful people who are here tonight and the entire community. My goal is to serve the students, the parents, the staff, the Board of Education, and the entire community as a whole of Oswego City School District. And in doing so, I'm really looking forward to collaborating with each and every stakeholder to the fullest extent possible. It is my belief that as we work together, that we will be well able to meet the needs of our students while also ensuring the district's vision of every student being fully prepared and life ready. With that said, as the district's mission asserts, I am really excited about doing all that I can to make sure that we ensure that the district is student-centered, that we use evidence-based approaches as we move forward for our teaching and learning, that we continue to collaborate with the entire community, especially each and every one of our collective bargaining units. I'm looking forward to meeting with each and every one of those unit presidents, that we ensure that we accept, that we recognize, we celebrate and appreciate our diversity of our students, that we consider all points of view when making compassionate decisions for the district, that we, as Sam kind of pointed out tonight, that we're very open, that we're very transparent, and that we engage with stakeholders on a consistent basis, and we communicate very openly, honestly, and consistently. And that we are, I'm also excited about making sure that we treat everyone fairly and with respect at each and every time. So again, I'm very excited about this opportunity. I really cannot wait to get started. I'm looking so forward to working with everyone, and I'm just really ready to go. And I want to thank you all for this opportunity. I am just bubbling up inside and can't wait. And so I'm just really excited. And I want to also again say hello to Dr. Gouet. Nice to see you again. And to everyone, to Dr. Sweeney, Ms. Plaze, to Nancy, to Karen, who has been up since 12:45. Wow, that's awesome. To all of you, I just cannot wait to get started. Thank you again for the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think you're muted, Karen.
You're muted, Karen.
Any other items from the board? At this time, could I have a motion for adjournment?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Yeah.
No one seconded it, and then he can't go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed? You may adjourn.